Today is Sunday, the 2nd of February, and this is video 30. And guess what? Yesterday I was too ill again to do a video. I'm not like really trying to force myself to do a video a day, but it would be nice to continue with this. I woke up in so much pain. I guess partially because I'm worried about my appointment on Tuesday for my eyes, but also Barclays had issues. So I work part-time as an art administrator. My wages didn't show up, and I have high anxiety around financial things. And I react to emotional stress with physical pain, and it was really challenging all day yesterday. But in the afternoon, I felt a bit better, and I did some wood carving. So I have a few of these. They're like 10 by 10 blocks, and I glued two together, and then I cut it. And you can see here it's really really rough cut. And then I drew something on it, which I didn't really know. I just like spirals, but it turned out now it's actually a snake. So first of all, you can see the back is, compared to this one, is really smooth, and I used this file for it. And then this is the front, and you can see that wasn't planned, so there was just a thicker part, and I thought, oh, that looks like a snake, so this can be the head of the snake. And I'm still working on this, and I'm wearing a glove because I use these carving tools and they're really sharp. And yesterday when I started, I'm like, I don't need it. And yeah, went into my finger twice, didn't do anything. And the third time I cut myself, and it was bleeding quite a bit, but it's healed now. So it's always good to have one of these gloves. And again, I'm not doing these videos to teach any special skills. I want to talk more about what I learn and what thoughts come up. Often when people are not really good at what they do, a lot of shame and embarrassment comes up. So at the moment I'm really happy with this, but in between it looked really weird. And it's supposed to be, maybe I drill a hole through here, but you're supposed to be able to just use this sort of as a stimming thing. So when you're in a meeting or so and you're like nervous, or autistics do stimming, and people with ADHD as well, you just have something you can keep rubbing. So when it's finished, I will put oil on. So yesterday, I spent 3 hours. So altogether, that's probably 6 hours of work. So I spent 3 hours because I had to like draw on this, and then, well, I cut it through first, but then I cut the corners, and then I carved this. I used sometimes a little bit of an electric Dremel, but I'm not a big fan of woodwork with electric tools. And then today, another 3 hours. So today I was on a Zoom call with a friend for 2 hours, and then a phone call with another friend. And now I'm getting into more detail. I'm working even slower. And yesterday, when I was mostly working on the outside, so with this file, so just like smoothing the material. And I thought, so I've got energy, but maybe I should use the energy to tidy up rather than doing some carving. I mean, I think it was like after 2 hours, I've like worked on this for 2 hours, and it made me think about that we don't really spend idle time these days anymore. So everything has to be has to have a purpose. And we often think if we spend time on resting or self-care that we're actually wasting time. So there is a big need in our society, I think, to be productive. And so I'm spending 6 hours on this here, and what's the purpose, you know? And I'm not a big fan of AI, image AI. I like text-based AI because it helps me with my English and my spelling and grammar, but I'm not a big fan of image AI. And I think yesterday I sort of found the reason for because when you do art, and or it could even be gardening, maybe any creative activity, I think you have to go through a lot of frustration. And I know I spoke about that before, but I think resilience is only built by being able to see past your mistakes and what you maybe would call a failure. And if you keep going and if you keep practicing, inevitably you will be successful. And that process can take quite a long time. I mean, they say to become a master, you have to do 10,000 hours. And I wondered if we don't allow ourselves to spend time with things that don't really have maybe a result that we can really see, or that someone say, oh yeah, that's worth 6 hours or 10 hours. We will never get to this point where we feel really accomplished for not a tangible reason like, oh, I made money, or I got a certificate. You know, this is like not really tangible, and it's just the joy of creating. But like I said, there's a lot of frustration there, you know, on the way to the joy of creating. There is the frustration of messing it up and maybe having to start again, or even having to put it in the bin. And so how do we then develop resilience and patience if we think that everything can be quick and easy? I think there's a bit the difference between spending time to growing your own vegetables and then bringing them in, or not even that, they could even be store-bought, but then you cut it all up and you cook a meal from scratch, and the quality and the taste of the meal will always be better than a microwave meal. And we all know that living just off microwave meals is not very healthy. And I wonder, secondhand creating in a way, like putting some words in and then getting an image that was actually stolen from a lot of other artworks, can never be as frustrating, I don't know, but never be as fulfilling as creating something with your hands and you see it developing. That's why I think like gardening is good as well, because you have to have patience. It takes time for plants to grow and flowers to bloom. And often you have to have faith, because when you put your bulbs in the air, in the earth, or you put your little plants in the earth, you need to have faith that they actually will grow, and they will oh, my laptop fell asleep. They will bring you a really pleasant result. And when you do art, and I definitely know this from metalwork, but I think with the wood is as well, going from A to B, like from start to your end results, is not a straightforward line. In between, it can look really ugly. And when you watch other people's paintings and, they throw some paint on the canvas and you think, it's never going to look anything. And then they keep going, and at the end they have the most beautiful, beautiful picture. And you're like, how did that happen? How did that go from like nothing or even ugliness to something really amazing? And I think it's this process of patience, and there is no guaranteed result. So you're taking a risk. And you have to deal with the frustration, and sometimes you haven't got the time to finish, and then you have to put it away and do the next day again. And these are our skills we can only develop while we are doing it. We cannot imagine doing it, because you will never feel as frustrated in your imagination than really mocking something up. And I wonder if these are skills that are getting lost more and more, that instead of creator, we become consumers. And I think I'm only realizing that now because I'm a consumer, and I've given up too quickly with my art. And it's been a long time that I can say I really spent a good chunk of hours on one piece. But because I want to do things differently this year, I'm going to continue with this, to be more creative and to allow myself to be more frustrated and take more risks. And what changed as well? So last year I was still in the, if I do it, it needs to look good, and if I didn't, I just didn't finish it, and I'm like, And the funny thing with this one is I took the part that was the worst cut. So on this side it was actually cut, had a line here as well, and I thought, you know what, I can just throw it away, I can burn it, I can put it in a box with examples of failed work. So I wasn't really attached to the outcome. I wanted to more experiment. Well, if I want to create a spiral, what do I have to do? And I think because I didn't put that much pressure on myself, that it actually turned out better than I expected. And I have to say, I'm quite happy with this now. So it feels really smooth, and of course you can always find something that you can do better, but there is also something really lovely with handmade stuff when you see the imperfections and it's not 100% smooth. So I think I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit more and then put some oil on. But let me just actually try. Let me see how that looks like, because you can, when the oil is on, you might even be able to see this better. So this is boiled linseed oil, and because the bloody bottle is so difficult to open, I put it in this little one. They have to put a child lock on, and I'm like, I have no little children, but I've got osteoarthritis in my hands, and that is really hurting me when I try to open the bottle. You can see this is really soaking into this. I thought it would be a bit darker. And what I just realized by doing this, I actually wanted to do a bit wood burning on it, but never mind, I forgot now. So I was just thinking of the oil. So I will probably do the wood burning maybe on the back. But you can see this looks, this looks really patchy. I've got a really weird patch there. So again, this is something like, yeah, I wouldn't try to sell this. And I don't understand why I've got this weird patch. So this is another thing I have to learn now. I have to check, how can I make this better? How can I change this? So for me, it's like these videos are an experiment, and it's more learning about myself. Of course, while I'm doing this, also gaining some more skills, especially in video making, YouTube videos. But yeah, this is, for example, that's really annoying me. Can you see this here? It doesn't look that bad on the camera, but it looks lighter here, and you can really see that looks really weird here. So when do we take the time to really look at things and see them and go like, oh, I don't understand why this is so, I've got like a ring around there. It's really weird. So we don't take the time to explore and just do idle things that don't really mean anything or have to lead to anything. But then we are confronted with our own thoughts and feelings, and maybe that's why it's easier sometimes to consume. That feels really nice, actually, really soft. So we are hiding from ourselves. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to hide from myself anymore. I want to challenge myself this year and allow myself to feel frustrated when things don't go how I want them to go. And let's see how that goes. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video.